Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I am excited to share this video with you all, and it's about one of the most underrated degrees, and those are associate degrees, because they don't know how versatile this degree is. And this is what I got before I got my bachelor's. Education is different from school. So as long as if you don't go to school, if you have your own gripes about school and college and all that, I understand that. But as long as you're getting educated in a skill or something that can help you and your family, that's all we here to do. And how to be wise with this in the future so you don't become something that you really don't like. You know what I'm saying? So I hope this helps you all, and I hope you get a lot out of this. All right, come on, let's go. All right. So university transfer. What are these degrees? These degrees are meant to help you transfer into four-year universities. That's the sole purpose of these. But you have to be very precise in what you choose. As you can see, each one goes into a certain major. So if you want to do computer science, then it's best for you to do associate of science, because you're doing the general education for that. The reason this is good is because they are cheaper. You don't want to go to a four-year university where you're spending most of the first 2 years doing gen eds and you're spending all that money. You know, whether you're taking out loans or paying it, you want a cheaper route. That's why people use these degrees. They're versatile because if you want to be in psychology, you could do an Associate of Arts, is an AA. So you get most of those psychology credits out the way. May not be all of them, but it's most of them. So you can get to the meat and potatoes once you transfer to that four-year university. That's the whole point of university transfer. And it may not cover all the gen eds, but it'll cover a great portion of it, saving you a lot of money. We're trying to save money, especially in this economy. We want to save money, all right? All right, so next up we have applied associate degrees, and this is what I got when I went to a community college. And these do not transfer well into four-year degrees because they are more hands-on. That's why it's called applied. The purpose of these degrees is to make sure you're ready for the workforce as soon as possible and you can get up out there. You know what I mean? So they are to the point. A lot of medical degrees are like this. So like sonography, that's what my sister does. You're scanning hearts and all that stuff. I didn't know what the heck that was until she did it. You know, there's so many things out there that we don't know that pays really well, be it in medical, construction, or whatever you decide to do. But these degrees give you hands-on learning, and they don't transfer well because it's not really gen ed heavy. It cuts out the fluff and gets you straight into what you're trying to do. So if you want to do associate applied science and either sonography or nursing or construction management or whatever, this is where you want to go. But there is a caveat that I will help you, that will say you got associate applied science and you want to go to a four-year. There is something for that we're going to talk about. And same with the associate of applied arts. It's the same thing as science, but it's more art related field. So video editing, sculpting, stuff like that. You want to just make money out the gate and get on with your life. You're not trying to worry about four-year degree unless you really want to. Okay, next up. So now we have nursing associate degrees, and I didn't know. I'm not a nurse. I'm not in the medical field. I'm more in the tech educational field. So I didn't know this was a thing, but they have three different types. You have the ADN, which is the most common one that you hear everywhere when it comes to associate degrees. This is a balance of gen ed and nursing courses, so it's a 50-50. And it transfers the best out of the three into a BSN program if you decide that you want to do that. Or if you're more science heavy, you like the science aspect of things, you can go with the ASN. Still associate of nursing, just in the science aspect. So that's cool too. And you have the people who are more hands-on, like, man, I bump all that other stuff. Let's just get to these clinicals and get this out the way. You know what I'm saying? So, and you also got the Associate of Applied Science, what we talked about earlier in the nursing area. And I think that's perfect. But it really depends on who you are and what you like. So do with that what you will. But my goal is to expose this to you so you can decide in the future. So you have these three degrees right here in the nursing area of associate degrees that you can pick from. All right, next up. All right, so now we have the Associate of Arts or Science in Teacher Preparation. And this is basically like, as it says, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to go into that, if you know, that's what your goal is, this helps transfer into those teaching degrees. But it does come with a lot of perks and benefits, as we will talk about later. Okay, so now it's time for a big thing that people really need to understand and not many people talk about, all right? You have articulation agreements. Articulation agreements is an official written partnership between two or more academic institutions, and it guarantees that courses, credits, or entire degree programs, hint, Associate of Applied Science, successfully completed at one school will transfer and count toward a degree at another. And that is what I did. I had an Associate in Applied Science in computer programming and development, or I say software development, interchangeably, and my school partnered with WGU via articulation agreement, and I was able to transfer my whole degree over into WGU and get 70 credits and just be able to finish that up too. So I was able to get my bachelor's degree in a quicker time due to this articulation degree. So, and it works for other different school. Like it doesn't have to be WGU, it could be anything. And you have to look this up on your current school's website. Type in your school that you go to, the community college, and type in articulation agreement. And you'll see the different people that they're partnered with and what degrees transfer over into that school. So say if you were doing an AAS in building construction technology, well, your current school might be partnered with another school that it can give you a BS in construction management. So how is this different from the university transfer degrees? Because it guarantees that you will most likely be a junior. So with university transfer, you're getting most of your gen eds out the way, but you still might have some things that you got to deal with in order to get to the meat and potatoes. But with this, you're most likely going to be a junior in whatever you do. And this is what helps the AAS degrees, because you don't really transfer well if you're starting, and you might have to start over if you don't have something like this. So I love this. This is what I did, and I really advise people to look into these because it's not really talked about much. All right, next up. Ways to pay. So the ways to pay are numerous, but I just got to throw these out there so you're not looking crazy when you do apply to school. You have the FAFSA. This is student aid. You apply to this at studentaid.gov. Don't apply to no other website but this. And if they change it, make sure you do your research. But it has always been this when I was going to school. Apply to the FAFSA because you can wind up earning grants. And sometimes you earn certain scholarships with certain schools if you just do your FAFSA in general, and they'll give you money. Now, some are federal loans, what we'll talk about, and some are grants that they'll give you, which is free money that you can use whatever you're doing. So apply to the FAFSA, see what you can do, and see what you get back. And that is an awesome thing to use in your education and tuition. Next, you have scholarships and grants, which I brought up just now. And that is free money. It's free money. Look into your school scholarships, see which ones you can apply to, or do third-party sites. Now, just be careful. Some are scams and some are legit. They are very competitive, so it is best to do your school first and then go to third party. But just make sure you vet it and do your research and make sure they aren't trying to just scam you. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. But apply to those. I would advise you to do scholarships and grants first. Now, back to the teacher degrees I was talking about. Some give you leverage as a teacher preparation incentives. So there's a lot of benefits to this because there's a lot of programs or scholarships or anything out there related to these teaching degrees that will pay your whole tuition. And you should look into that if you're looking into teaching in the future. You also have employee tuition assistance, which is reimbursement. Some people, they'll get their bachelor's, get a better job, and then they'll have the job pay for their master's. You know what I mean? There's levels to this. So take advantage of what your job offers when it comes to these employer benefits of tuition, of schooling. They sometimes even pay you to get cert. Utilize those things because that will really help you get even higher paying jobs in the future. All right. Now, lastly, is federal loans. Please, please, please only do this when it is needed. You must pay these back, and they ain't playing. They're really not playing. So if you do get federal loans, please only accept what you need, and after that, pay it back as soon as possible because it can eat up a lot of money. And that's why associate's degrees are so good, because they are cheaper to get. And so when you do go to that university, you ain't going through a whole bunch of unnecessary classes just to see if you even want to be this major. You know what I'm saying? So please take federal loans with a very high risk, and do not just grab and go and act like, oh, whatever happened. Please read what's going on. Please look at how much you're getting and see if you can only get what you need, and get as many grants and scholarships as you can. That is the biggest thing when it comes to this. All right. All right, let's move on. Okay, so important tip number one, because you know I got to give the tips now. This is the one important tip right here. Research your interests. This is a very important thing because a lot of people, they family was like, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer. And you was like, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer. And little did you know, you actually like juggling. And you never knew you liked juggling until after you became a lawyer and you're miserable, and you're a doctor because you're miserable, because you never asked yourself, what do I like? I don't even know what I like. Everybody told me what I was going to be, or I saw this made a lot of money. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that paper. I don't care what it takes. And you start making that money and you hate your life. I don't want that for you. I want you to understand what you like and who you are as a person. So take these are two good quizzes I found, but there's so many out there. So the first one is ONET interest quiz. I have the links down below also, and it gives you an idea of what you kind of are suited for and what you like. It gives a whole bunch of different careers, which are cool, but it's kind of limited in the scope. But a great one I found is the Pathful Interest Finder, and they are really sponsored by schools and like education organizations. But if you have this, if you are in community college now, or if you're anything that has Pathful, please, please, please try it, because they have an interest survey, not the light. I haven't tried the interest light, but the regular interest surveys. You just answer these questions. It's a few. It's really quick, and it gives you the industries that you're suited for. And not only that, it shows you videos about that industry and shows you careers within it. Now, is it a big, broad scope of all the careers? No, there's way more in it, but it gives you a really good viewpoint of who you are as a person and what you're suited for. And that is what is important. And take other ones out there. But these are the two that I really liked, and they were really good for me. But at the end of the day, just learn who you are, learn what you like, and then move off of that, because we can get so caught up in what I think I should be or what everybody told me I should be and what I think I want, that we don't really chase what we want until later in life when we're 50 years old and our back hurt. And you're like, dang, where did life go? You know what I'm saying? So this is important tip one. And important tip two is this. Research your career choice. After you find out what you like and what you're into, make sure you look at that career. And careeronestop.com or .org is really good. And the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is good also. This is also in the links down in the description, because you want to see, oh, well, I want to play hockey and eat popcorn, and I want to do that for the rest of my life. Then you research that career like, oh, they only make $2? Oh no. And now you prevented yourself from going through years of trying to learn hockey and making popcorn or whatever the heck you want to do. And now you're hungry and all you got is the popcorn. So all we got to do is understand, okay, I like this interest. I like finance. I like human services. I like these things. But now what within that industry do I want to do? And once you figure that out, research that career before you try it. And once you have these two things under your belt, then we start looking at either associate degrees or bachelor's or master's or PhDs or whatever is required to achieve the goal that you want. This is all this video is for, all right? Yeah, that's really it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any questions, comment down below. I hope this video helped, because this associate degrees are underrated. I have my bachelor's, I have my associates, but I really appreciate associate degrees on how versatile they are and how easy it is to just get to a better life quicker. You know what I mean? It's only 2 years. I know for a lot of people, hey, that's a long time, but it's better than 4 and it's better than 6 or 8 or whatever that you see other people have, because it gets your foot in the door and it gets you some better paying money at a quicker rate depending on what you decide to do. So I love y'all. I thank y'all for stopping by. I hope this helped, and I see you in the next one. Peace.